Canelo. I'm not so sure how much longer how much longer it will take. I believe Fury would be the biggest face of boxing around the world, because there still is a difference in being heavyweight champion of the world and any other title you could have in boxing.
But Canelo may be facing, well, it appears certainly will be facing a British fighter, one or the other.
And he's not losing to either one of them.
Neither one of these guys has a shot.
No, I'm not saying not having a shot. They have a shot for different reasons. I mean, the best of... I'm assuming that Billy Joe is going to be the best of himself that night, because, you know, the one thing about Billy Joe is Billy Joe, when he's very good, is very, 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 very good. And Billy Joe, when he has an off night, is off. But he's not going to be able to really take advantage of size and strength. I think Canelo will be the bigger, stronger guy, and he has to rely more on being slick and his style and make it a little bit ugly to win. Callum Smith, I think, would be a more fun fight. I don't count out either guy. They're too good to count out, but it's hard to see either one of them beating Canelo Alvarez. I mean, look, right now, my pound for pound list at the moment has Canelo #1. And I've never been a great fan over the years of Canelo, but you know, you got to look at a man's resume at a certain point and say, look at what he's done and how he's done it. And it's hard for me to argue that right now he's not the best fighter in the world.
Who's tops your pound for pound list on the female side of boxing?
I'll take
the winner of Amanda Serrano. Well, you know, there are 3 women. No offense to Cecilia, who's had a great career, but I think that I watched the Callie Reese fight. I promote Callie Reese now. I thought Callie Reese basically gave her everything. She probably could have gotten to this thing, could have gone either way. Cecilia's had a tremendous career, but I think at the moment the 3 best female fighters in the world are Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano, and Claressa, and I'm not putting them in an order yet. You know, I mean, but those are, if you're looking at a pound for pound list, the best women in the world, I think those are the 3 women. I think that it's going to be hard, even though Claressa could certainly regain that top spot, but I think in all probability, you'd have to say that Katie Taylor and Amanda, pound for pound, would establish themselves as the pound for pound queen, though Claressa would be 1A. I think she's really, really good. It's not her fault that it's a thin weight class at the higher weights for women her size. It's not her fault. I think she's a very accomplished fighter. I also don't like all the criticism of her, because if a guy talks the kind of trash and the smack and has the confidence that Claressa has, everybody slaps him on the back and says, you're such a confident young guy. And then, you know, Claressa says it and people, you know, get all offended. And honestly, you know, I told this to Claressa, be you, do you. You know, and that's who she is, and those 3 women are the 3 best right now. And if you want to extend the list of 4, because I've heard some rumblings that there's going to be potentially a fight, a pretty good fight for Cecilia coming up next. I think if you wanted to extend it to 4, you could put Cecilia into that top 4.
I think all of those fighters make big fights. Taylor and Serrano would be a very consequential fight, but not a super fight that brings crossover fans, like the beef that has been cooking between Claressa Shields and Layla Ali. Everyone knows is retired, but could be like the biggest fight in boxing were to be made.
Well, the problem with it is this: like they're both chirping about $10 million each, and there just never will be.
Bro, I just need
and if they want to, I believe it would be the biggest women's fight in the world, no question, as an attraction and from a selling standpoint. But if those 2 women are willing to take a 50-50 deal, or maybe even if I'm Claressa, she'd probably get mad at me saying this, you have to be smart. Maybe even Layla's obviously going to be the underdog coming back after all this time off at her age. Maybe even Claressa letting establish her star power. In the interest of maybe even letting but they're going to have to fight for what's in there, not what they think in a fantasy world it's worth. Because there's never going to be $10 million.
Where are they at?
Well, we asked you a loaded question because this couldn't happen, being that we can't go back in time. But we don't know how Layla Ali would enter the ring if she were to come back. But we know now she entered the ring in her prime. Clarissa is clearly in her prime now. Both of those girls in their prime. Who's winning that fight?
Probably would have made Clarissa prime to prime favorite, but not a prohibitive favorite in a close kind of betting fight. Layla, I think Clarissa's a more accomplished boxer, like maybe a little bit more polished. But like Layla was and it probably still is, a tremendous athlete. And she's a Hall of Famer for a reason. She's getting inducted in June. She's a Hall of well, no, she's not getting inducted in June. In my view, she should have been the third one getting inducted in June. They're inducting Lucia Riker and Christy Martin. They're both getting inducted. Well deserved. In my mind, it should have been 3 in the first class, and it should have been Layla should have been the third. But I think it would. It's prime to prime. It would have been a highly competitive kind of fight. I think if it happened now, Clarissa would be a big favorite. I think if it happened prime to prime, Clarissa would have been a slight favorite.
Radio Raheem Aluda Bella.
Where you at, bro?
The urban legend is, if you say his name 5 times while looking in the mirror.
He's not eating that much carbs, no. And I still got low health. Y'all got perfect body.
Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing USA promoter. Joseph Parker, former heavyweight champion, fighting on this card on Saturday. He makes his way back into the top shelf of the heavyweight picture. And Joe Markovsky, who's wearing a sweater. Executive Vice President over at the Zone. Welcome, everybody. Devin, since you're sitting next to me, I'll start with you first. When we last saw you, you've talked about, a comeback coming soon. What's the latest with your health, and when can we expect you back in the ring?
I'm getting closer and closer to being back in the ring. I'm looking at early July for me to, make my next appearance in the ring.
You were at the fight with Ryan Garcia, confronted him afterwards in the ring. What did you make of all that?
Well, we're just still building up the fight. I think that's a fight that a lot of the fans would love to see, and it's getting closer and closer to happening. And we're just going to keep building it, and sooner or later, it will happen.
Eddie, I think everybody agrees that Devin Haney has the potential to be a pound-for-pound type star. How do you build him into one of those mainstream type of stars?
Well, I think he's getting there, from when he joined us and joined the Zone. I think his profile has risen incredibly, of course. A couple of great victories as well. And there's no harder worker outside of the ring. I'm not even talking about in the gym, but I'm talking about building his profile, building his brand, understanding what it takes on the promotion side than Devin Haney. We say in England he would go to the opening of an envelope, and that's what he'd do to push himself, to grow, to learn. And him and Bill do a great job. The great thing about Devin Haney is at 21 years of age, most people would say him and Ryan Garcia, wow, that can be built into a super fight. These guys have so much confidence and so much belief. There's no building to do. That fight for me should come in November, December. We believe that the Zone and Joe would get behind that fight. They're going to have to get their checkbook out, which we know they'll do for these big fights. But for me, Devin Haney against Ryan Garcia is a super fight, and I really hope we get that. I think Devin's going to be boxing around June, July time. I think Ryan Garcia may go on the Canelo card. After that, let's just do it. Let's just roll into a huge fight. They're willing to take the risk, and I think fans will respect 2 outstanding young fighters getting in the ring at such an early stage in their career.
All right, Andy, you mentioned a super fight that could be in place with Devin and Ryan. One that I think everyone wants to see right away is based on what we saw last weekend. Tyson Fury knocking out Deontay Wilder. He wins the WBC version of the belt. Your guy, Anthony Joshua, has the other 3 versions of that belt after beating Andrew Ruiz. What did you think of Tyson's performance, and how likely is it that we see a unification fight between those 2 at some point this year?
I think that's inevitable. I mean, firstly, 3 months ago,
what the heck, bro?
PBC, America had all the heavyweight belts, and now Great Britain has all the heavyweight belts. The conversations have been ongoing. I spoke to Bob Arum probably half an hour ago. I think the biggest issue to sort out now is Deontay Wilder. If there's a deal to be done where Deontay Wilder makes way for a Joshua Fury undisputed fight, we are absolutely all in for that fight. We're closing and just recently closed a couple of minutes ago the Pulev fight for June 20, but we know that Pulev is also promoted by Bob Arum, so there is a deal that can be worked there. For me, if there's no step aside, if you like, let Wilder and Fury go again in July, we'll box on June 20th, and then we can agree now, we can sign now for the undisputed fight in December of this year.
Joe Barkowski worked so hard last year to try to get Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua into the ring. Does a Tyson Fury Joshua fight excite you as much?
Absolutely, it's the biggest fight. Two British heavyweights going at it. It's huge globally. Tyson Fury's done a hell of a job promoting himself in the US. Incredible performance last weekend, and that fight's huge globally, especially in the US and the UK, for sure.
And Joe Parker, you were sitting ringside for that fight in Las Vegas. Give me your impressions about what you saw.
It was a fantastic performance by Tyson Fury. There was no secret. He said he was going to come out, push him back and throw punches and get it out of there. So I think he was telling the public that he was going to knock him out round 2. When I went and saw him, he said around 6 or 7. So he was
Yeah, I thought
I didn't think he was going to but it was bad. He was great job by him.
You obviously shared the ring with Anthony Joshua. You know Tyson Fury well, having just watched him. How do you think a fight like that goes?
Yeah, be honest. Listen, I think it'll be a great fight. I think it's a fight that we should make happen. I think everyone wants to see who the best heavyweight in the world is, and I have to side with Fury on that one. Sorry, team.
Tough things to say. I'm curious, Joe. You suffered your first loss in a fight with Anthony Joshua. Deontay just suffered his first loss. From a fighter's perspective, I mean, how difficult is that to get past?
It's not. I mean, when you go out there, you've given everything in camp and you've given everything in the ring. Or at the time, you just have to accept it. I think acceptance and build on it and come back stronger. And I think Deontay should take some time off, relax with his family, and come back stronger.
Devin, you're undefeated, but what do you think of the mindset that seems to be throughout boxing right now? Everybody seems to be determined to protect that record. Sometimes when it stops big fights from being made.
With boxing now, always almost the most important thing, and one thing I don't like is that once you take a loss, that the boxing fans seem to count you out, and that's not what it should be about. It should be about the best fighting the best, the best fights happening, and if you take a loss, it's okay, but being able to bounce back and understand that someone put on a great fight and to not count them out.
That we have Regis Prograis and Mari Zuccarelli, two guys that have taken losses in the last year, but both still top tier guys. I mean, no belts on the line in a fight like that, but I think that's the kind of fight that boxing needs. Two elite top 5 fighters in that weight class, going at it without a belt.
Yeah, and I think that's a good example of where the belt doesn't matter. You've got 2 guys that are former world champions, both attempted to unify, both fell short, and now the actual unified champions are in mandatory bouts that no one wants to see. So these guys kind of take the ball by the horns and say, no, well, let's us fight, and let's us establish ourselves as the major player in the division. Regis Prograis against Mo Hooker is a great fight, as a man that one day might be fighting the winner of those when he moves up to 140 inevitably at some time. And it's a great 50-50 pick and fight. Regis Prograis is coming off a fight of the year contender against Josh Taylor, having just lost narrowly, and jumped straight back into a 50-50 fight. Most guys, and sometimes this frustrates us, and especially the broadcaster, where a guy will say, yeah, we want a comeback fight, we want a warm-up fight. No one wants to watch warm-up fights. Fans, even me, especially the broadcaster. Sometimes we understand that they're part of the game. But for guys that are willing to go from big fight to big fight to big fight, they get the respect of their fans, they put bums on seats, people want to tune in to watch them, and if they're good enough, they're going to get right back to the top of the tree ASAP.
Joe, I imagine you agreed with Eddie that broadcaster is not a big fan of the warm-up.
I look forward to reminding you.
Raised in the industrial Midwest, the son of an immigrant, Pete Buttigieg saw his hometown once thriving on...
That statement in a couple of months' time, I'm sure we'll have an opportunity to do that.
Just to let you know, Devin's having a warm-up fight.
No, it's true. Look, it's about building a career, of course, but from our perspective, we're about putting together the best schedule of fights, making these guys in the biggest fights we can make them, and delivering a schedule for our subscribers that gives them value for money. That's what we're about.
So you mentioned the schedule. I mean, you're a big fan of the fight season, as we saw at the end of 2019. We've had some fights announced in the last couple of weeks. What do you think about how it's shaping up in the first half of the year for DAZN?
I think from May onwards, we're going to have a really strong schedule. I think we're building into it right now. The fight, this is a fantastic weekend, sort of get our appetites wet for that. And I think through the summer months, the end of the year, you're going to see us make some absolutely huge fights, looking very, very good from May onwards.
Would you both like to update us on Canelo Alvarez and what's happening in those negotiations?
Well, this is a drink me and Joe will have after this weigh-in. But from our point of view, you know, we have two guys in Billy Joe Saunders and Callum Smith, both ready to take that fight. Golden Boy had the numbers that it takes to make those fights happen. You know, from a promotional point of view, as a promoter, you would want to get the opponent for the best price possible. It's part of the business. And from Canelo and Eddie Reynoso's point of view, you want the guy that you want to step in the ring with. So whether those two can be the same person, we'll see. But I think 9 weeks out this Saturday, Canelo Alvarez, none of my business, but I'm guessing we'll be making a decision on the opponent this weekend.
Joe, do you feel as optimistic as any of this is going to get worked out soon?
I think very optimistic about that. I think we're days away from doing that. I think we'll be doing that after this, maybe with Franklin as well. It's probably slightly better with the numbers than Eddie, but yeah, absolutely. I think we're days away from doing that, and we're excited to get going with that promotion.
Joe Parker, for a number of years, maybe a decade even, the heavyweight division was kind of boring. I mean, you had Vladimir Klitschko at the top of it, not a lot of top guys to compete with him. Now, it just seems like with the Fury win, yourself, Dillian White, Derek Chisora, I mean, so many guys out there. We'll see another fight this weekend. Adam Konoski's an entertaining fighter. So many guys out there. It seems like this is a really good time to be in the heavyweight division.
I think it's a great time to be a heavyweight. You know, the heavyweight division's on fire. You know, I'm right up there, you know, ranked number 2, and I consider myself one of the best in the world, so I have to take care of business this weekend, and then it's up to Eddie to lock in the big fight. Absolutely, so looking forward to it.
But how are you feeling physically? You come off the spider bite, maybe the worst spider bite I've ever heard of, that, you know, cost you a significant fight last year against Derek Chisora. How are you feeling going into this one? And I guess, how do you get back to that top level?
It's 1-0 to the spider.
You know, he's now got a t-shirt with a spider. I mean, he's, you know,
you killed that guy
we thought that Josie Parker had the best excuse for the spider bite until Deontay Wilder come along with the ring walk suit, you know. But this was just, from our point of view, just a really depressing moment when this guy had trained so hard for the Chisora fight. It was a perfect fight for him. You know, going back to the UK for what would have been his 3rd fight at the time. And when they called me and said about the spider bite they'd picked up in New Zealand, it was a nightmare. And it was one of those where it sounded like the worst excuse in the world, but was absolutely 1,000,000% true. And so far, so he's taken it well, and he's now got a new nickname and, you know, all his new apparel.
Radio Raw here with Regis Prograis, making the journey here to Dallas. Yet another hallowed ground for sports. You just had what can arguably be called Fight of the Year 2019. Obviously, it didn't come out quite the way you wanted. You still feel like you won the fight. How eager is it? How eager are you to get back in the ring and kind of erase that last fight out of your mind and just move forward with your career?
Exactly what you said, man. You just want to go, you know, you get back on the winning streak, you know, and what better is it to do with, you know, a dangerous opponent. You know, Maurice Hook is a former world champion, so it's one thing to get back on the winning streak with, you know, with a no-name opponent. But for me, I want to do with a name opponent, to, you know, a former world champion, to, you know, to basically prove myself.
Nobody would have given you any stick about taking a lesser opponent. This came off a tough fight. You know, you want to get in line for the rematch. There's always Ramirez out there. What is it about you that says, you know what, I want to take the next toughest guy I can get?
That's what I want, man. Like, if you look at my record for the last, like, 2 years, all I've been fighting is world champion, former world champion, all undefeated fighters. And that's all I want, you know. Like, at the end of the day, like, we have in boxing, we have like a short period of time. And so you have to stay relevant by fighting good fighters. You can't just keep fighting bums. Like they call it, nobody has a bum in the ring. We know that. But you can't keep fighting no-name opponents and stuff like that. And I know, like, when you get a belt, you have to fight mandatories, and sometimes that get mixed up and stuff. But like, I want to fight the biggest fighters. That's what I want to do. So days in my career, that's why we took it.
You and Maurice obviously are both going to want the W. You're both going to have a bit of a chip on your shoulder, but you coming off, like, again, arguably the fight of the year last year. How much of a statement do you need to make in this fight to let people know that not only are you still in the elite class, but you're arguably still the best as you see it?
Right. I mean, that's just like you said, man. I have to, like, dominate. You know, like, I have to be dominating to let everybody know, like, I am the best. I'm still the best in this division, you know, and then, you know, hopefully that'll set me up for bigger fights. You know, Josh Taylor, Jose Ramirez, all together, like I said, even bigger is the Mike Garcia and Jesse Gattis.
Are you taking anything from the experience of the Josh Taylor fight forward? Did you learn any lessons there that you can apply in this next fight?
I mean, I learned so much just about.
Bro, it's too scars, bro. How did you die?
Listen, when I went to London, it was just like when I went there, it was a setup for the kill. It was like for me, it was like a sacrificial lamb going to the wolves. That's what I did. I went to the slaughterhouse and I came out like I came out. I didn't get the decision. I still thought I won, but I didn't get the decision. But I went the whole nother like. You was there, right? They called it the fucking wolves then, right? Over 20,000 people there, and it was all against me. So now I know what kind of character I have. I know what I can do. Like now, you cannot they can't break my spirit enough. You know, like they couldn't even break my spirit there. And then even after the fight, you know, all the people telling me I won and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, like I just took that experience, and it made me way stronger. And even and that's like the psychological. On the physical side, it's things that I did in the fight that I shouldn't have did, and now I'm gonna take those steps and don't make the same mistakes.
We'll talk about a Wolves Den. If this fight, like you said you're looking at the winner of Garcia and Vargas. Garcia has said that he is open to coming down to 140. That's a hell of a Wolves Den for you. If you look at that fight, how do you see yourself matching up against a fighter like Mikey Garcia?
I mean that's